Welcome back to the Stuff or Whatever podcast. BQuanchi here. We got a very special podcast this week, but before we get started, I always have to say the best way to support me in the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. You right here on YouTube, over on Twitch, where I do gaming streams. You can also get uploaded as VODs back here on YouTube, and also Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, for fun tweets, updates, whatever. And I do also do like Let's Play stuff on the channel. I've been having some experimentation. Um, I'm just I have some like tier maker list I'm gonna record for the channel and also some AI stuff. Yeah, but also gonna want to get back into doing more game commentaries. But it's one of those things that it's like no one's really listening, so why try? But it's a fun hobby, and it might make something someday. Um, Especially like you don't know the struggle is real because I have issues with like speech. Not too bad, but I feel like, especially when I have like for lack of a better word, script, I'm gonna read off of my. I don't know if it's like my brain breaking or what, but yeah, some of the commentaries, like even like the shorts I've been doing on the channel too, which I also get on TikTok, which I'm on there as well, but it's not something I plug too much. But it's just pretty much what I put on YouTube Shorts goes on to TikTok is to put eggs in multiple baskets and all that, but always open to feedback and stuff like that. It is some fun Halloween. Well, I say fun Halloween stuff, but it's more like some streams that are kind of more like I want to say like horror, not traditional like jump scare stuff, but some kind of Halloweeny games. And I think the next thing I'm really planning for the channel, besides just like whatever stream VODs and this and that, is I'm gonna do two uploads of what's called the BQuanchi gameplay. That's my Let's Play like series on the channel. Probably like double it up in December just to see how that does, just because there's stuff I want to play. A lot of it's indie game demos, so definitely if you have suggestions for like indie game demos, especially shorter form, something I like to throw up and like kind of boast or whatever. But I do feel like when I do my gaming stuff, it's a little bit more on the I guess it's a straightforward side. Sometimes I forget, like, hey, I'm supposed to have a personality. Hey, I'm supposed to be funny, but I think a lot of it's more game centric. So if you like watching um, that kind of commentary with gameplay, there's stuff I want to do too, like some long plays I want to record too that I'll just throw up on the channel. Maybe make good background noise, but just some loose ideas and all that. Not that anyone special, just a dummy with a microphone and a laptop and internet access. So, but it's fun to document my thoughts. I'm gonna say build a community, but that feels like a pie in the sky dream and all that. But it is what it is, and I'm not sure if anyone else has like like, hey, I'm doing the YouTube stuff or whatever, or I'm doing like streaming on Twitch or this and that. And I just feel like just do what you want to do, and the rest will come later. It feels like maybe much, much later, but I said it before too. Like I think this like articulating my thoughts or just speaking out loud kind of helps me a lot too because I'm not always the best speaker. It's funny, like, but I haven't done this podcast in a while, uh, but I feel like it helps too because it's a lot of it's off the cuff versus shorts or I have a video game commentary I want to put out soon. I just have to finish it up, but I feel like when I want to like think, okay, this is what the talking points I exactly want to make. These are exact lines I want to say. It gets a little, I don't know why, but it's generally, but I always like to adapt to like, sometimes I'll just like rephrase the sentence or retype it out and stuff like that. So thank you, Google Docs. That has been a godsend for anyone who cares about like small content creation. Google Docs is a huge thing, especially with having their word processor and all that. Um, yeah, but I want to talk about this podcast. Not that I'm too much of a YouTube drama channel. I think I want to kind of make that somewhat of a central point for this episode. The first, uh, it's I guess you can call it YouTube drama, but there's like more stuff to it, like more like serious stuff too. But I did want to kind of like recap the Sniper Wolf and Jacksfilms situation. 'Cause I feel like when you put the word drama, even though it's kind of hard not to, that almost kind of like devalues things, or kind of like, oh, it's like petty stuff, but there's some stuff going on with that. And I'm sure, like, I'm definitely not the first person to talk about it and breaking news and all that, but I don't like Jack's films for such a long time, just viewing his content. Not as religiously, except recently, like when he made some videos criticizing Sniper Wolf, and all of her deals were um, just doing compilations of like TikToks and kind of quote unquote reacting to it. Sometimes it's like not even reacting, a very like small babyish kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but and I didn't realize this until I mentioned to a friend, but I guess she also did like game streams or let's plays or something, but it was actually like a boyfriend or husband or something playing the game, and she was acting like she was playing, which is very cringe as well, and I think it says a lot too. But kind of to recap the situation, Jack's Films, I think he did a few videos about like her. I think a lot of it, the big message she was getting out there is that she's, in a sense, stealing from smaller content creators, not giving them any credit was the big deal. Kind of profiting off it, especially when she's doing very little, minimal or no effort in terms of quote unquote uh, reaction, whatever, and not transforming stuff and all that. So he did make a side channel called Judges Jack's Films. He just kind of, it's more of like a parody and all that. But the big thing, I feel like in some of the clips I've seen, because I don't care about Sniper Wolf in terms of her content. But I have seen a lot of it due to Jack's Film side channel, and he does like these bingo streams and all that, which do get loaded to like a small clippets and all that on the his side YouTube channel. I think she kind of like called him out a little bit. You can tell that she's being annoyed, and it was like some of his most recent, even though it's been a while, uploads talking about how like some creators were like looking into claiming the content, actually succeeding getting that removed from Cyberware's videos. Uh, to the point that maybe she even got some videos taken down because once some clips get taken down, it's less than an 8 minute mark. She can't put mid rolls on them, mid roll ads and all that. So thinking that's part of it too. But the big thing is that like Sniper Whip, in a sense, docs Jack's films. Like it's crazy, it's bizarre. You think you're in some bizarre world. Like why would you think it's okay? But she like made like a post like should I have a photo shoot? I'm in Jack's films area where should I visit his house? Yes or no? And actually taking a picture of his house, which was like the doxing part and all that. And yeah, that's really messed up, and especially like being called out. A lot of other creators I've seen call her out too. It's a lot of back and forth at YouTube. That's like the craziest thing about it too. Is like watching YouTube's lack of action and eventual action. But she was like, "Oh, I don't know how to dox. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to have a conversation." Although you can always slip into his DMs. You're a person on the internet. You know how to contact people online. You know how to show up to people's houses and all that. And like, if you didn't do anything wrong, why did you immediately take down the Instagram story or whatever? Even like Instagram posts afterwards, like mocking the situation. Like, if you showed up to your house, what would you do? That kind of thing. I think that's really messed up. 'Cause you never know, like with crazy people out there. So I'm hoping everything's good with Jack's films. Again, I feel like he's an OG YouTuber, so for the best of the situation, but like part of it too is this lack of action. Like I know he made some tweets about calling her out, having a deplatform because that's really not okay. And there's even laws in California about doxing. I'll get to in a bit as well because it's even like cringe on YouTube's part is that it was like last year, like with the VinCon, they like made posts about Sniper Wolf being a dream creator. Like when you get ideas, like they really like push her up, like bend over backwards for her, like put her on a pedestal, and she's like, at the end of the day, she's like a nothing, a nobody. Oh, but she's hot. She has tits, and she's white, so I guess she can get away with a lot that way. But they called like for YouTube to do something, anything. I think it took them like maybe like a week, maybe half a week, and people were surprised. They were giving her a temporary suspension from monetization. And oh yeah, and I remember with a post too, like they said something about like both sides. So like saying like we don't approve the behaviors on Sniper Wolf's and also on Jack's film's side, which is completely bizarre because he's definitely the victim in this situation. Because also going back to that, what I was mentioning, clips were getting claimed removed from SsniperWolf's videos. I feel that was very recent before the doxing. So it feels like that doxing, that provocation, whatever you want to call it, is more like retaliation. Like, hey, you're messing with my bread and butter, in a sense. But she still probably makes a shit ton of money, and this and that. So it's like barely anything. But still, it's like the principle, and also safety and stuff like that too. Guys, people like calling them out, say like, hey, this clearly. Uh, Violates like the rules and guidelines. And I think that had a lot of back and forth online, like people like posting like the messages with YouTube or Team YouTube support saying like, oh, what they do off the platform is like that's on them. And then they also have policy like, hey, to do stuff off the platform, you know, they're responsible for that. So it's like very like almost opposite contradiction statements. Because even that one post, the Ackman YouTube, like he made like a joking post about doxing YouTube staff on Twitter, and then he got his monetization like removed. And like that was on the platform, but he still got the consequences, which I can kind of get. Like it was a joke; it wasn't serious, but no, I can get where they're coming from. I'm glad he got it restored. Even I don't really follow him. So I don't know too much about it, but it just feels like a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of favoritism, all that when it comes to YouTube's and its creators and stuff like that. The crazy thing is, I know a lot of people poke out, mention like the both sides in their like statement things, and only reason I can possibly fathom is that maybe they heard like Snapper Wolf like, oh, this guy's harassing me and blah blah blah, and they just took her word for it. But no, he's not. He's criticizing, calling her out, critiquing, pointing out like theft of content, stuff like that. So I think the YouTube, oh, well, she's being bothered, so I guess she's a victim too. And yeah, it just really kind of crazy to see kind of like what do you, it's like a bizarre world. I think this kind of behavior is okay because I also had some commentary as well that like if the roles were reversed or if there's a situation where a male creator docs a female creator, they would have been nuked. There would have been completely different story. But since she's female white creating has a lot of subscribers and all that, I had some things too that I guess she's giving more credit to the TikTokers, something like in descriptions and all that. And there's also like a side channel too that she has, and that got criticized. Like, oh, that's still being monetized, and even someone was saying, oh, she's still being monetized because they use this third-party plugin to confirm. But then again, you're relying on the third-party plugin, so I'm not sure how reliable that is. But it feels like it's like barely a slap on the wrist, if even that. I think that kind of wraps up for the most of it. I know Jack's films have been very quiet, and even SsniperWolf saying like she's taking a step back for mental health and all that, and it was like a whole like I guess you could say nothing burger, but like playing the victim in the situation when she's definitely not. Like if you're being called out, then that doesn't make you a victim. That's just you being called out. Taking lumps and stuff like that, or take accountability. That's a big thing. Take accountability. Um, but then like she's taking a break, but I think I'm pretty sure I read this on like the Jack's Film subreddit, something like that. A lot of times it could be a sign of when they're quiet, like not posting much, not in terms of videos or streams and all that. It could be they're looking to legal action, maybe a lawsuit, some form of litigation. Um, Especially like these laws in California about doxing and all that. But it's just crazy to think and see when I think these big creators and all that, and it's like this bizarre world, like they feel like they're above it, or they maybe did this at a very like, young age and don't know. Like I don't know. I feel like some you just have to like work in, like a retail job, a customer service job, like in a real world, for lack of a better word, and like to like have this kind of common sense of like common decency and all that. But it's crazy. So I think the only lingering bits of that YouTube drama, if you want to call that, is that there might be some legal action taken. I'm not sure, especially with Jack's films being very quiet, a big break, especially with his side channel. And that's the funny thing too. Like she was saying, "Oh, he's like obsessed with me. He has this channel with all these videos about me." Like that's a parody channel. That's the whole point is to critique, criticize, whatever. Like if the whole point of a channel is to be a parody of your channel, of course it's going to focus on you and all that. But that's all the crazy with that. The next thing I want to talk about, kind of still going on the theme of YouTube drama, and it's not like drama, it's just like real situations that unfortunate, but I talk about the super mega drama. A lot of old news, but some of it's been kind of being discussed more. I feel like ever since they took their made apologies and updates and all that, the subreddit has been focused on them a lot, but a lot of the subreddit also been kind of reminiscing about like old school or like old clips and old moments and stuff like that. But there was an issue. This person, I guess she has OnlyFans too, Lex Updog, made this video over the summer about it was the old super mega thumbnail artist Don being sexual harassed and assaulted. That's the big word. I talk about like super mega's involvement, all that, and that pretty much got the channel canceled in a sense. We'll see what it happens, but I just want to give a little bit more 2 cents. But that was the big thing, and I think what sparked it up recently is that one of the co-creators, founders, whatever, Super Mega Ryan McGee made a post talking about because they made like the apology and statement and stuff like that too, but also that they kind of brought in well, kind of they did bring in their um, friend who passed away due to complications with the suicide attempt, and they brought it in. I think they it's like there's other people too, like Leighton who used to work for them, and this one guy Nick is not green or whatever. He looks like an ugly troll, but I'll get into that as well. But basically, Grand calling out that they mentioned they said like they made fun of Daniel and like his attempt and calling him a coward and stuff like that. Uh, and it was just really uncalled for. And you was pretty much calling them out, like they didn't bring Daniel into it. Although I just feel like it was just brought in to see kind of like Kid Talk, Super Mega, or like make him look more of a bad guy and all that. And I think that's why it is being brought up. There's another video, I haven't seen it. I know it's a kind of long one by Turkey Tom that kind of talks about the situations. I'm not sure how I feel like that brings a lot of light to it from what I hear on Reddit, all that. But basically, calling them out. Because I did want to talk about like Lex's video. Been a few months, but I know there's issue about like her turning off comments, then like blocking people on Twitter, and then unlisting it or private it, and then I think it was like public and unlisted, or the private and now it's unlisted. But there's like part of the description talking about Superman covering up the assault, as well as I guess he had issue with suicide attempt, which I don't recall at all. Because people are saying like the description got updated. I feel like she just threw that in because I don't think she ever apologized and gave accountability about bringing Daniel into this whole thing. I don't think anyone really is. Besides, like, hey, we know what's up, kind of thing. Um, but I think like she threw in that like suicide in description just to like I don't gain more sympathy, but I don't think she ever talked about it. And the whole thing, like saying that Super Mega covered up. But if you watch her video, she actually says herself that she didn't want to get like the police or like legal charges involved because she was uncertain about how that would affect the person. Because you, I guess it was her boyfriend at the time or something. It's like a online long distance thing with Don, but she was worried about him being a foreigner, like how that would impact him. So they specifically said like she didn't want it to be as public or pursued as much. If you see saying that she would make it covered up, like that's not the case, bit. Like you said yourself, you didn't want to pursue it in certain ways. Again, it's been a while since I watched the video and all that, but I know that there was some points she wanted to make because she didn't know what would be the aftermath or consequences or whatever. And yeah, it is messed up. Like I'm not going to downplay her sexual assault. Again, it might be like a he said she said thing. So it's like even if it's pursue, it might not. I feel like I have that as a statistic as well. That when it comes to sexual assault, a lot of it doesn't really amount to anything unless there's like blatant evidence or this and that. So I think when it comes to sexual assault, it seems very minor. Again, I don't know much, so I can't say from just being someone from the outside looking in. But also, like in a video, she brought up points about her living situations that she was living with Matt, and then she was living at the Super Mega Plex where they do a lot of the. It's kind of like their office in a sense where they record stuff and do this and that. A lot of complaints about it, and then she was saying like, oh, like becoming homeless, but she also said uh, they didn't kick us out. We left before they could. Like it was getting to that point because you watch a video, there's some tensions and awkwardness, and I feel like they could have handled it a lot better, at least being more forward with it. Um, but also the point she even mentioned, like it's like bizarre. I'm almost like we should get a time machine just kind of bring up these points. But she even mentioned like Matt Watson, what the co-creator of founder of SuperMega, was going to offer to pay 2 months of rent for her new place and all that, which is bizarre. And she like made complaints about like the living situation, cleanliness that impacted her making content, working, all that. But then she was also saying, "Oh, that it was so hard to find a place because of her credit." But then she buys a Jeep. Then she goes on road trips, and then also with finding places. I'm not sure how he fits in. I guess we're going to be roommates like Rav. I know he also been on a Super Mega channel before, but it's like, yes, he didn't like some places, but it's like bitch, it's not hard to find a place to live. I don't know too much about like LA, California, but it is really not that difficult, especially if you're very unhappy with your current living situation. If you have enough money to buy a car, if you have a fucking friend willing to pay 2 months for you, you could find a place to live. So quit bitching. That's like again a thing I wish we can recap is like I felt like, oh, see what make it had these awful living situation. It was all dirty and messy, and they're gonna kick us out. Like you're a fucking adult. Like act like it. Like shut the fuck up. I don't care who you are, what you've been through. Quit being a little bitch. Like that's me being on my soapbox and all that. But it's like it is crazy how it feels like even the fandom kind of like flipped, and I think that a lot of it with this Nick is not green guy kind of plays into. 'Cause he made a video, but it's like saying oh, he's unbiased, but he's definitely biased, and he had like a stream celebrating their downfall. And it's like word that it was like coordinating like Alexa this and Nick does this, and then Leighton does his stream, and then I guess Matt Watson's ex Mordecai or whatever. I never really heard of her. I think she at least takes some accountability. I know there was kind of backpedaling, but she was like lying a little bit, like with her involvement, kind of downplaying, like "bitch, we know your involvement," kind of thing too. I know I'm sorry for saying "bitch" so much when I'm talking about sending people, but it is my gut reaction. But yeah, it's just crazy that like, hey, it feels like looking back now when someone makes like a drama video, someone out like pay attention to what they're saying. Why are they saying this? Does this make them look good? Is this relevant? Like, is the living situation relative to her sexual assault or Daniel's suicide? Is that a suicide attempt? Was that related to the sexual assault? No, it wasn't. Shut the fuck up. Don't bring it up. If you do, that says a lot about you, kind of thing. And with like Nick with not green, I've seen like some posts on a subreddit too. It's very cringe. I think even his own subreddits like call him out or like hating on him too. It is like it also part of it feels coordinated in a sense because I think with the timing of it too, um, the Super Mega channel was kind of getting a little stale on content. Like it was just pretty much the truck simulator and podcast episodes. I think the fan was getting stale, almost like a little reason to like leave. And then like when this comes out, like not just leave, but like crack everything in the building, break the door on the way out, kind of thing. And also with the fact that Matt Watson was going on tour for his recent music um, all that. So it's a really shitty situation, but it makes me kind of like look back and think like, hey, it feels like what they did could have been a lot worse. Again, it's like painting some ideas like, oh, they covered it up. No, they didn't. Oh, they kick us out and made us homeless. No, they didn't, and all that. So, kind of my 2 cents. I really wish he would come back, but again, it's Super Mega Man Ryan. But it's up to them. They need to do what's best for their well-being, for their own mental health. Only last tiny bit of criticism is that I feel like the lack of super mega content kind of creates this vacuum, and people get kind of weird because it's like internet people when they bug, like other people like Justin, the editor who's been doing some streams, or focusing on this Nick is not green guy and hating on him, like, hey, you took away SuperMega, your involvement with it. And I haven't heard peep from Leighton, but I don't care. Fuck that guy, anyways. But I think this whole vacuum of a beloved YouTube channel content creator is causing this kind of weird internet, you know, focusing on this and that and all these details. So I hope the best works out for them. But I did kind of want to talk about it just because it's a YouTube channel I've been following for a long time. It sucks that it's gone in a sense, at least for now. But I did definitely want to put my 2 cents in there. And the last bit of YouTube drama I want to talk about is this recent. It's still actually kind of going with this Mr. Beast and this Rosanna. I believe I keep on calling her Rosalina, whatever, just because I don't really care about these people. I don't watch Mr. Beast and all that or this person. But I guess the big drama with it is this creator contest, whatever thing, but it was like a hide and seek thing. And she was mentioning like, hey, she was in third place, but she was edited out, uh, and like leaking his DMs. It was even kind of crazy in the sense that she like wanted all the raw footage, and he'd like, hey, call me, because like, hey, I know you're gonna uh, screen screen capture this and post online, leak it, and all that. It's like the biggest criticism is like, hey, it's 2 years after the fact. Like, why the fuck are you doing this? But then people like saying, like, oh, it's like sexism. Like, is this content not authentic? This and that. And it came to a point like she apologized and she took down a lot of her posts and all that. And then I think this is today or just recent, just when I'm recording this. But then she like retracted her apology and stuff like that too, and kind of like doubling down. I get it. Like some of you guys, I think, like I would say, like sexism and favoritism and all that. 'Cause I guess like Logan Paul was like in the top three when she outlasted him in this hide and seek game. He also mentioned this other creator, Quaxity, which I never heard of. But I guess he was in the top three, but he got edited out. I think he confirmed that, at least corroborated her story and all that. It's great because I guess she's one of those like wholesome YouTubers, this Rosalina, Rosanna, whatever. Um, oh, that's people like taking her side and like it just feels really dumb, very stupid, and we've been up on like 2 years. And here's a hide and seek competition, and I believe only the first place winner got the prize to donate to a charity. So it's like if it was like a third place prize, then I can see where that is. But then like, why take 2 years to talk about it and all that? So I guess that's not too much to say beyond that. Uh, that was just funny. If I was like, this is a good way to a good example, like not free to troll, because I would say you made so many videos and you trying to find your voice. Like maybe you have a learning disability. It's like actually I was diagnosed with learning disability. She said, and it's like no, that's cringe. Like I can get that's like clapping back. That's like hey, this, me coming back with it is gonna make you feel bad, but it's so cringe and it's kind of like funny too. What up? The only thing I think she can handle the situation better because she handled it very poorly, but she got support on her side too. Um, but she could like maybe mention it, like, "Hey, I was supposed to be in top three. That sucks." At least maybe more closer to when the video after it was released, but not like bugging Mr. Beast, leaking DMs and stuff like that. Like you can complain about it, but I think that the way she goes about it is looks very tacky, um, and all that. Who knows? One thing I also want to say with these YouTuber dramas and this and that I feel like needs to be said, like, don't ever harass, death threats, kill yourself comments, kind of thing like that. Don't do that. You know, she said like when she apologized that she got thousands, quote unquote, thousands of death threats. Don't ever do that. And it's one thing that is going to happen, but I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna justify like, hey, don't do that. 'Cause it's going to make the other side look bad. And yeah, it could also be the point that people actually supporting like make fake dummy accounts to make these death threats because it can make that side look bad or can impact the other side with their mental health, with their well being, all that. It's crazy, but I think it's just kind of weird. Uh, just because I don't know, I just feel like some of these content creators have the warped sense of reality. I think this is okay, it's not okay. I thought with this last story drama And I don't think it's like too bad, but it's still like justification like, hey, I can leak these DMs, I can publicly complain, and then I say, no, I should handle this more directly and kept this private. And then the last post like backpedals on that so hard, even though I'm posted kind of like nothing burgers post in the first place. So it is what it is, but it's kind of like from your everyday average Joe person, kind of like looking in, kind of seeing how weird, bizarre, like how these people act, whether it be like doxing or harassing or making these long videos. And not too much room to talk because I'm making this dumb little solo podcast. But yeah, like don't harass people. There is definitely times where you should call people out, expect people to take accountability. Um, the consequences of their actions, what they say, what they do. You should always keep people accountable, but there's always that line, and I think it's very clear, a clear line when it comes to uh, harassing, when it comes to uh, all that, like death threats, no, 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 and all that. But that's like my last 2 cents with it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments if you guys listening. And one last thing I want to talk about this podcast, kind of recent news. I mentioned this before, but this has to do with cup noodles. And news broke out that they actually are changing up the cup designs. It's no longer going to be styrofoam. That's going to be a paper cup, just so it can be microwave safe. And then people are like, wait, what? Like they weren't microwave safe. And I guess a lot of people did microwave them anyways. Like the memes of like one like being all charred and microwave too much and all that. But I feel like it was okay to microwave them. I never did. I always use a hot water dispenser or now a kettle. So I feel like I microwaved before and didn't turn out as good in terms of the noodles and all that. Even though it's like instant cup and all that. I feel like that's been reacting like, oh, you're not supposed to microwave them. I did a dumb, stupid video on the channel. It's still there. I tasted the instant lunch and the cup noodles and which one is better. But I think I mentioned that too, like, hey, don't microwave that. And you kind of feel like, hey, I remember people like in the work uh, break room microwaving them for the lunch or breaks or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like that's a Mandela effect and all that. But I don't know if I'm the only one thinking that, like, hey, oh, well, everyone like a lot of people think that it still was microwave safe, but it's kind of funny to think about. But that will do for this podcast. So thanks so much for listening. Again, the best way to support me in the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Best 3 sources. I do put links in the description as well. Let me know what I should play in terms of video games, best with streams or shorter form let's plays and all that. And some reason have like a little bump in uploads in terms of the let's plays. Just because if I'm recorded stuff that's kind of building up versus doing it because I've been doing it once a week, so kind of like a very slow drip. And it's also the thing that hey, I work a full-time job. Um, I don't want to like burn out and make so much content and then uh it not doing much and wait for slow growth versus all that. But we'll see. But yeah, y'all take care and have a great rest of your day. Bye.